Hello, you guys, and welcome back to Mystical Visions. So, today I wanted to do an interesting and probably very long video. Today, we're taking a look at two options that you might be faced with and which one you should pick. More like how each one would turn out if you picked it. So, I'm going to be doing this in an option A, option B, or option one, option two format. So before you even pick a card, I want you to figure out which option is which, and then take a look at which seashell calls to you. We're doing seashells today. So yeah, we're just going to take a look at the potential outcome of each choice if you make it, why you might want to make that specific choice, as well as some advice from the oracle cards and a little extra. So yeah, if you're ready, go ahead and pick a pile that calls to you. Timestamps for all the readings are in the video description. I'm probably going to have to change this candle. But anyway, timestamps are in the video description. I'll give you guys some time with these piles. Go ahead and pick one intuitively. Of course, if this reading resonates for you, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It really helps the channel out a lot. And without much further ado, I'll see you guys at your reading. Pile number one, hello. So we do in fact have a new candle now, and look at her burn so much brighter. So if you guys picked this seashell, which is I feel like a classic oyster shell, then this is your reading. So we're going to take a look at two options that you might be faced with at the moment, which ones you should choose, what the outcome will be for each option, and yeah, we'll go from there. So for this side, I'm going to take a look at option A and this side option B. So I hope you know which one is which in your mind. So with these cards, we're going to take a look at the outcome of choosing option A and why you might want to choose option A. These will tell us the outcome of choosing option B and why you might want to choose option B. Here is advice for each of these options. And then finally with these two, I also wanted to take a look at something about this situation that is inevitable regardless of which option you choose. So keep that in mind and let's go ahead and dive in. So pile one, what's going to happen? What's the outcome if you choose option A? We have the 10 of Cups and the Queen of Swords. Okay, we also have the 4 of Wands. Okay, beautiful. And we have the Hermit. All right, so the outcome for option A seems to be emotional fulfillment. This could be about a relationship, and if you choose option A, it could very well lead to a happily ever after, a very, your classic happily ever after, like once upon a time we met and now we're together forever. And with the Queen of Swords and the Hermit as well, both of these, to me, they seem to be about communication. With the Queen of Swords, this is a cutthroat character. She's someone who will speak her mind regardless of whether it feels okay to people or whether she is politically correct or whatever. She will say what she has to say and she will cut people out like it's no one's business. The Hermit feels like a similar sort of vibe of pushing the world out, but it's more from a position of I need some space, I need some time to myself in order to really process all the information that's come my way. So together, these cards kind of give me the vibe of someone who is in a relationship that is so intense, or a connection, whatever kind that connection might be, that is so intense that you almost get lost in them and they get lost in you. And so if you choose option A, there might be a need to consciously step away from the situation and get some me time going as well. Because it can get very easily codependent, right? I keep hearing the phrase conscious uncoupling. That was such a meme, dude. But yeah, if this is about a connection, this is the kind of connection where you end up being like two peas in a pod, and it is wonderful. And then eventually you start to realize that you've forgotten where the boundary lies between you and your person. It's like you don't even remember where you end and they begin. This could also be an indicator that this connection will make you quite introspective and will help you get smarter. Probably literally, like they might push you to further your education, whatever that may be. But also like street smarts. It feels like you will definitely be more confident through this connection, but also you will be seeking a lot of wisdom. Be that esoteric, be it 3D life wisdom, whatever it is, I definitely see you coming out of this situation being a lot smarter, a lot more intentional with your thoughts, actions, and words. And you're happy when you do it. Let's now take a look at why you might want to pick option A. What situation would prompt you to pick option A? We have the Ace of Wands in reverse, clarified by the Fool. Okay, beautiful. You want to pick option A if you're feeling uninspired. You're feeling a complete lack of motivation. Because with the Ace of Wands in reverse, this is someone who doesn't have inspiration anymore, who doesn't feel creative anymore. Whereas the Fool is almost like the opposite energy of, there is a journey ahead of me that has infinite potential. It could go literally anyway, and I am so eager to find out what happens if I take this leap of faith. So if you've been feeling a lack of inspiration, a lack of creativity and motivation, and you really want to step into a new adventure, or you're just seeking that spark, then you might want to go for option A. So let's take a look at some advice for option A. We have all paths lead home. Beautiful. Oh, there's a bit of... Okay. All paths lead home. And we have the Rhino Spirit. Overcome any obstacle. Okay, so if this is about a connection, part one, then this is definitely something quite long term. Like, this is not a connection that, gives you a bit of spark and then goes away, like that movie 500 Days of Summer, which okay, confession time, I hated that movie. I don't know why. It did nothing for me. I guess I didn't hate it, but it just did nothing for me. But those connections where it's like temporary, but they teach you a lot, and then they leave you feeling like a better person at the end of it, but it doesn't last. I feel like this is a connection that lasts. And it not only does it last a long time, it survives many obstacles, because this person or this opportunity, whatever this is, definitely feels like destiny. It feels like you were meant to follow this path. So that's option A. Now let's take a look at option B. Okay, before we get into the cards, I have to mention I did make a note that the cards for option B were definitely flowing out a lot easier. And that also makes me think of this Rhino card about overcoming obstacles. It feels like if you do pick option A, it won't necessarily be the quickest or the smoothest sailing ride, but it will likely be very, very much worth it. Just going to make a note of that. Okay, option B. So hopefully you have in mind what that means for you. I think, yeah, okay. Just making sure everything is in frame. What will happen if pile one picks option B? We have the King of Coins, clarified by the Chariot. Okay. And we have the Emperor, clarified by the Tower. Okay, I'm getting classic romantic comedy plot where, say this is, assuming this is about relationships, it doesn't have to be, but imagine if it was, this is the person you love, this is the rich guy that your parents want you to marry. That's the vibe I'm getting, because this energy feels a lot more practical and a lot faster paced. Okay, this feels like a pre-made structure, a pre-made template for you that all you have to do is just slip in and assume the position that they expect you to assume. And 3 out of these 4 cards are major arcana. So that tells me that this could be a very significant opportunity. It could also be that you're having to pick between a relationship and work. With option B, though, I'm getting a sense of leadership, of success, accomplishment, fast-paced movement, because the Chariot is fast-paced, the Emperor is leadership energy, it is that Aries fire energy. The King of Coins is someone who has their success made. It's that Taurus energy. This is Aries, Taurus, this is Cancer. The Tower, though, that's the one that's interesting, because the Tower usually talks about a crumbling, a sudden and dramatic change. It's that energy of nothing will ever be the same again. So there's 2 ways this could go, right? Number one, the obvious, is that you will get all of this and then suddenly it'll be gone immediately. And then you're going to end up being like, oh, why did I chase this material success when I could have had love? Sure, it would not have been as easy, but it would have been fulfilling. The other interpretation, and I feel like this might be more realistic really, is that if you choose option B, you have to be ready to essentially do like a complete 180 with your life. There will be a lot you will have to change very dramatically about who you are today, about how you live your life right now. And that might be something you guys are seeking. Like, this could be comfort and this could be a new avenue, right? And that could very well be something you're looking forward to. If you do choose option B and you want to, then best believe that it's going to come with a massive, massive shift. It's like, once you start going down this path, everything will turn on its head so quickly that it'll be like, I want to say like weeks or months, and you'll be a completely different person. So if that's something you're seeking, then this is certainly the way to go. Why would pile one want to pick option B? We have the Two of Swords. And we have the Queen of Cups in reverse. All right, this makes sense. You would want to pick option B if you're looking for the more practical clinical option, the kind that would almost guarantee security, at least in the short term. Um, so even though your intuition might be telling you, like, this feels cold, like it doesn't feel like home, if your priority right now is financial security, which is completely fair, then this is the one you want to go for. Because with the Queen of Cups in reverse, the Queen of Cups is someone who has a good handle over her emotions, right? So to have that in reverse, clarifying the Two of Swords, the Two of Swords is someone who has to make a choice and they are having to trust their intuition rather than their surroundings in order to help them make that choice. If you feel like you're a person who is almost a slave to their emotions, someone who cannot keep a good handle on your feelings and therefore cannot trust whether the hit you are getting, the urge you feel, is intuition or just fear or just preconceived, whatever, then you definitely want to go for this safer, more practical option, because you might not be sure if this emotional option is going to give you what you're looking for. And it will just come with extra fears. In that case, you want to go for this option. So what's the advice for people who pick this one? We have Pleiades, double mission, channeling, and uplifting humanity. That is so interesting. And we have the shapeshifter. All right. I will read the shapeshifter from the book, but what's interesting is this one talks about double mission, channeling, and uplifting humanity, whereas this one talks about all paths lead home, inner authority, intuition, turn your gaze within. It feels like two very different but equally fated energies. Because while over here, the message or the advice was that, any choice you make after this will lead you to where you are destined to go. This one feels more like a deliberate choice that allows you to fulfill a very different life's mission. This one feels more community driven, more like you're making your life about service rather than about love and emotional fulfillment. So this will bring you emotional fulfillment, but it may not be the easiest and it may not be the most community driven. This feels more community driven, but it might not be as warm, comforting, and emotionally fulfilling. But I just quickly want to read Shapeshifter from the book because that's interesting. So that's number 15, by the way. The trickster, the elusive, the formless. The shapeshifter has a love of theater, games, and trickery. Its energy appears as one thing, only to reveal a more complex story below the surface. The shapeshifter is within all of us to some degree. It is the side of ourselves that is slippery, non-committal, and experimental, and longs to dismiss the rules. At any moment, the scene may shift, revealing a more enchanting vision than you imagined. Be wary, though, as the allure of the kaleidoscope can leave you exhausted and yearning for solid ground. Vibrant, adaptive, humorous, or charlatan, people-pleasing trickery. Yeah. So, if you do make this choice, there is also a chance that what you see on the surface of making this choice may not be the complete story, and that you might still find very powerful emotional fulfillment when you choose option B. It's just that you don't see how quite yet. So there could be a lot more to that story than it seems right now. But as things stand, this feels like the more emotionally fulfilling option. This feels like the more community driven, practical, safe, service oriented option. So finally, let's take a look at these two cards, which I wanted to do as an extra, just to take a look at an inevitable outcome that's about to happen in the situation, regardless of what you choose. So that's not to say that your choice would be negated, but rather what is going to happen within the situation that would happen whether you choose A or B. We have the Knight of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, interesting. The Knight of Cups is a deeply emotional card. This is someone coming forward with an offer of love in some way. Whereas the Ace of Pentacles is the universe coming in with an offer of abundance. So it feels like no matter what you choose, you will definitely have love coming your way. But it also feels like you may not be looking for a new financial beginning, or a new financial beginning may not come randomly. It will be something you have to work for. So it feels like the emotional aspects are almost effortless. Like it comes to you easily. Whereas the financial aspects you have to work hard for. So I'm also getting the feeling that this is like, this to you might feel natural because you might be a deeply emotional person, or you might just be very good at, getting into and maintaining relationships. Whereas this side, it feels like this is something you would have to work for. But that could give you the financial security you're seeking, and it could bring you the dramatic change that you're looking for. This one would just come easier, even if it was, slower paced to find success. This one would give you success really quickly, but it would also be a lot of work in terms of perhaps maintaining that success, or almost doing inner work to feel abundant enough to keep it going and to keep more coming your way. Because it feels like this is definitely a more conscious choice, whereas this one is a more subconscious choice. Very interesting. I didn't expect these to be um so precise. So that's your reading for today, Pound One. I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this format, and I might have to do more of these in the future. Did this resonate for you? Let me know in the comments. And if this reading brought you some support and clarity, please remember to give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It really helps. If you'd like a private reading, my email is in the video description. Go ahead and reach out to me and we'll sort something out. And that's pretty much it. So thank you guys so much for being here and letting me read for you and sharing your time and energy with me. I truly hope it helped. You can stick around to the outro for another reading on my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. Pal number 2, hello. So if you guys picked this spirally guy, then welcome. This is your reading about which option you should choose. So hopefully by now you know which option you've set to be option A and which one to be option B in your mind. And without much further ado, let me explain how this works. So these cards here will tell us the potential outcome if you chose option A and why you might want to choose option A. These here will tell us the potential outcome for option B and why you might want to choose option B. This is some advice if you do choose option A. This is advice if you do choose option B. And then finally, as a little extra, I wanted to take a look at one inevitable outcome that is going to happen in this situation, regardless of which one you pick. So yeah, without much further ado, let's just dive right in. So option A, what's the potential outcome? We have the Queen of Cups, clarified by the Ace of Swords in reverse. And we have the Two of Coins, clarified by the Emperor in reverse. Okay, if you choose option A, it feels like nothing will change. Like everything will be as is. No new communication will be had. No, no one will take the first step. With this Two of Coins, it's like a difficult balance. Like you're holding two very heavy things, and the only way to keep them up is to um, sort of shuffle around and juggle them in the air. Um, with the Queen of Cups, it feels like this could be a conversation that you need to have with someone that you're almost avoiding. So if that's the case, then this is your pile. But it feels like you might be feeling overwhelmed and overworked, but you've put all your feelings, you've like brushed them under the rug and refused to have this conversation that would make your life a lot easier. And it almost feels like you want to have this conversation with someone in a position of power. That could be, actual power or perceived power. But whatever it is, it feels like they have the ability to fix this for you, but you are afraid of what they might say if you do come out and mention how difficult things are for you. So that's, say for instance, you're working a job that is demanding a lot from you, and you're trying to balance that with maybe a turbulent home life and hobbies, and trying to be a person outside of all of that, and it's just the workload is insane, and you could approach your boss and say, hey, look, can I offload some of this work to someone else because it's getting a little crazy? But you're afraid to have that conversation because what if they see you as unfit to work any further? Or what if they cut your work but also then cut your pay? That there's a lot going on. I feel like there's a lot of worries going on here. And it feels like this would be the option where you just don't say anything. This could also apply to a relationship because we do have the Queen of Cups, and that's about controlling how you feel, being in control of how of um of how you express what you feel. And like, just see how her hand is covering the cup. It feels like this is a conversation that you refuse to have, even though your emotions are like desperate to come out. So if this is a relationship, whatever kind of relationship, where you feel like you have to have a conversation, this might be the option where you don't have that conversation. And quite frankly, the outcome is that nothing changes at all. You will still be just as stressed. You will still be just as emotionally constipated. No one will initiate the conversation. No one will take the lead. And that's pretty much it. Like, nothing will change if you pick option A. Let's see why you might want to pick option A, though. Yeah, we have the Six of Wands in reverse, clarified by the Seven of Swords. Okay, the Six of Wands upright usually talks about victory, about winning. So to have that in reverse usually talks about the reverse. It's about defeat. And the Seven of Swords, though, is a sneaky energy. This is information that has not yet come to the light. Maybe there's something you need to own up to, something you need to confess, and you're not sure whether you want to do it, because it almost feels like, okay, so why would you want to pick option A is if you think having that conversation won't fix anything. If you truly think that whatever this conversation is talking about it will only lead to mutual loss, then you might want to hold your tongue and say nothing. Or if there is something that you've been keeping from someone that might really hurt them to find out, then you might want to pick option one, but bearing in mind that nothing changes. You will still be stuck in that feeling of, should I say it? Should I not? There is so much going on. I'm having to juggle so many things. Yeah, the only reason to pick option A would be if you truly think communication would cause further damage. So, what's your advice if you do pick option A? We have whale and orca elders, share your song, frequency of sound, diving deep. Okay. And we have the dragonfly spirit, truth transcends illusion. How to? I feel like if you do pick option A, the advice coming through is have that conversation anyway. Because with the share your song and truth transcends illusion, it feels like you've sort of boxed yourself in a corner where it's this uncomfortable place where you've almost tried to convince yourself that limbo is the best place to be. Where just if I just don't have this conversation, then nothing can change, no one can be upset, nothing can go wrong. But it's like it's already going wrong, which is why you have to have this conversation so that either it gets better or you're put out of your misery. Like you can't just stay in limbo forever. Someone has to make a decision, and I feel like the advice here is to just speak your truth regardless of what the consequences will be. So that's option A though. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at option B. So what happens if pile 2 goes for option B? We have death in reverse. Okay. Clarified by the 2 of cups. Beautiful. And we have the page of wands in reverse. Clarified by the 4 of swords. Okay. Option B, where I assume you end up having this conversation, the outcome is going to be much better than you expect. Okay? With death in reverse clarified by the 2 of cups, there won't be the ending that you are anticipating there being. Right? There won't be this moment where someone learns your truth and then decides they just don't want it anymore. They don't want anything to do with you anymore. In fact, it might bring you closer to this person that you need to speak with. Now, usually the 2 of cups is a romantic connection, but it could also be someone that you are an equal to. So someone you work with, someone you're friends with, a sibling, something like that. But whatever it is, if you do initiate the conversation, it is not going to lead to the ending that you're anticipating. We also have the page of wands in reverse clarified by the 4 of swords. And this tells me that it won't. So, okay. The fear that you carry is probably something that stems from emotional immaturity. It is a fear of expecting the absolute worst because you fear that no one will understand you or no one will be able to see things your way. And that's a fairly childlike fear, right? Where kids, when teenagers are moody and they're like, oh, no one understands me. And it's like, no, we understand you. We just don't feel as emotional about this as you do. And when you have this conversation, I feel like that's that realization you have where you realize that people do understand you, but you just felt isolated because you felt like you had to keep a hold of your emotions so strongly. And that's what leads you to this Four of Swords moment of rest and, relaxation, of having a moment of peace. So if you do have this conversation, it will go better than you anticipate. It might end up bringing you closer to the person that you need to speak with. It is definitely not going to be the ending that you're fearing, but it might also need to be approached with an emotionally mature state. That's something to keep in mind. Why would, I mean, we already know why, but why would Pal 2 want to pick this? We have the Knight of Coins in reverse. Okay. And the Page of Coins or Pentacles in reverse. Okay. These are both very slow moving cards. The Page of Pentacles is someone who is just starting their journey of abundance. They're starting to put down roots. The Knight of Pentacles is the slowest moving knight of them all. And this is someone who will not budge until they know for sure what the outcome is going to be. So to have both of these in reverse tells me that this is the option you want to choose if you're ready to step out of that limbo. If you want something to change, if you want your situation to change, this is the one you want to go for, because it involves you taking the first step and having a difficult conversation, but it also means you're not stuck in this place of fear anymore. It means you're starting to move forward, and whatever the outcome is, at least there is an outcome. Like, at least you're not stuck in this place of how are things going to go and just constant fear and anxiety. So what's the advice for pile 2 if you do end up picking option B? Soul family, call in your tribe. You don't have to do it alone. Okay, beautiful. And the dead end. Interesting. Okay. So I will read the dead end from the book, but soul family is so interesting because this is like genuine advice. Like, a lot of the times, the reason we are afraid of having difficult conversations is because of that feeling of isolation, like I mentioned. So maybe if it helps, you might want to enlist someone to join you while you have this conversation. If you feel unsafe doing it on your own, you can have a friend join you, a family member, a partner, whoever, go with you instead of doing it alone. And also, I think it's another nod to, you don't have to face these difficult emotions alone. What's interesting is there's whales in both these images, but here there's a solitary whale, whereas here there's a pair of them and a pair of dolphins. Well, another pair of dolphins as well. Yeah. If you pick option B, just know that you don't have to go through the motions alone. You can always ask for help. And in fact, choosing this might open you up to realizing just how much help there is available to you in the first place. But let's go ahead and read this dead end from the book. This is number XL. I think it might be 40. The dead end. Contrary to what its name implies, the dead end is very much alive. It is a force that stops us from moving forward as planned. It is thick, dense, uncompromising, a wall beyond all walls. With every bramble, thorn, and stone, it simply states, "No more, child. You have reached the last page of this chapter." There are doors opening all around you, just not the one you planned on walking through. If you are honest and courageous enough to accept, adjust, and adapt, the dead end becomes known as life's beginning. Acceptance, humility, relief, reverence for change. Yes, okay. So if you pick this, the advice is to definitely do it with the expectation that life is about to change. that things are about to move forward, whatever shape that may take. Because the overarching theme here across both options is this feeling of being stuck in a place where you don't feel comfortable, but because it's familiar, you would rather stay there. And that's not healthy, pal two. So the advice here is to just, this is a dead end. There is no further life to be had in this position. So it is time for change. But let's now take a look at something that is inevitably happening no matter what you choose. Now, this is not to say that your choice would not make a difference or that it's just an illusion or whatever, but rather some aspect of the situation that's going to turn out a certain way, regardless of which option you go with, okay? So we have the 10 of Wands. And we have the 10 of Wands in reverse. Okay, regardless of which way, regardless of what you choose, pal two, this is the universe saying, let go or I'll make you. It feels like you really don't even need to think about, potential outcomes or whatever, because it feels like the universe is about to step in and be like, do you want to do this consciously, or do you want to do this by, us, the universe, forcing your hand? It feels like even if you want to pick option A, pal two, I feel like you will inevitably be forced to pick option B, which no one enjoys. Let me tell you, no one enjoys having their hand forced. However, if there is a burden that you are carrying that could be eased, the universe is gonna do it for you, because it doesn't want to see you suffer. It doesn't want to see you in pain. It doesn't want to see you stuck in a limbo where life just hasn't moved forward in months or years. And most importantly, it doesn't want you to feel isolated, like there's no one in your corner. The universe is in your corner. But sometimes we just need to be kicked in the backside for us to move forward and see that the fears that we had imagined weren't real, but rather they were projections from our past experiences. And we kind of pushed them, extrapolated them rather, to a situation that has nothing to do with where we come from. That is so interesting that these two cards from two very different decks both came out the same, and then one was reversed. Because the 10 of Wands upright is about letting go. The 10 of Wands reversed is about being forced to let go. So that's the choice you really have, is do you consciously, voluntarily let go, or does the universe have to force you to it? But that's your reading for today, pal two. Very interesting. Let me know how this resonated in the comments below, because I'm really curious to see what situation this applies to. Let me know. If this resonated for you and brought you some support and clarity, do remember to like and subscribe. If you want a private reading, my email is in the video description. Reach out to me. We'll figure it out. That's pretty much it. So thank you so much for spending some time with me today and sharing your time and energy with me and letting me do this reading for you. I truly, truly hope it helped. You can stick around to the outro for another reading on my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. Hey pile 3, hello, welcome to your reading. So if you guys picked this spirally shell guy, then this is your reading. So I've gone ahead and pre-shuffled your cards, and today we're taking a look at, wow, I just mind blanked for a moment. Today we're taking a look at which option you should choose And hopefully by now you know which option you set to option A and which one to option B in your mind. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you how this works. So these cards here will tell us the potential outcome if you choose option A. And these will tell us why you should choose option A. And then these will give us some advice should you choose option A. So this side is option A. These cards here will tell us the potential outcome of choosing option B, why you should choose option B, and any advice for if you do choose option B. And then with these two cards, I also wanted to take a look at some aspect of the situation that is inevitable regardless of which option you choose. So, without much further ado, let's dive in. So, what's going to happen if pile 3 picks option A? We have the 8 of coins, clarified by the 9 of swords. Okay, I'm just going to make sure these are in the frame. Cool. And we have the 10 of coins, clarified by the magician. Whoa, okay. Option A is something that so I feel like you've been manifesting abundance, you've been manifesting money, and option A is a stepping stone towards that. However, it is a lot of work and it is giving you anxiety, particularly if you feel like this is not the exact outcome that you've been looking for. But what you need to remember is that this is sort of like on the way to your manifestation. Like if you've been manifesting the 10 of coins, which I assume you are because that's been clarified by the magician who is manifesting, then the 8 of coins is well on your way towards it. And the 8 of coins is about working really hard, about, burning the midnight oil, burning the candle at both ends. There's a lot of burning analogy. But the 8 of coins is someone who works extremely hard, regardless of whether they get paid for it or not, because their commitment is towards the work. However, it's clarified by the 9 of swords, which is the card all about anxiety, about fears, about almost irrational fears. So perhaps you've been working hard out of feeling these irrational fears, and option A will probably we'll probably have you feeling that way for quite some time. Okay. Sorry. Okay. I'm just trying to ground into this energy. I feel like your energy feels very all over the place, very scattered right now. Okay. The 10 of coins clarified by the magician talks about manifesting the ultimate abundance, the ultimate joy, the happy family. Everyone gets pocket money. Everyone has their own bedrooms, that kind of thing. And the 8 of coins is working hard in order to someday get there. So choosing option A will probably have you in this energy for quite some time of I can see the vision and I'm working hard towards it. However, there might be a bit of impatience that then causes anxiety where it's like, why isn't it here yet? Is my manifestation even working? Am I doing the right rituals? Am I saying the right affirmations? Am I doing the right visualization? And it feels like this is coming your way for sure if you can combat the anxiety and also the desire to work extra hard and focus instead on matching the energy of someone who already has it. That is not how I expected this reading to go. Okay. Why would you want to pick option A? We have the moon, clarified by the 5 of coins in reverse. Okay. You would want to pick option A if you are not clear about how you're going to step away from poverty consciousness. So, option A feels like the keep working hard option, right? Don't change what you're doing, just keep at it and try and work through the anxiety. Because the moon is a card about not knowing what's going to happen. Ooh, I put them down the wrong way around. That's interesting. It should have been the five of coins on top and then this below, but it's come out this way for a reason. Um, yeah, the moon is this um, almost cloak over all the information. Like you don't really know what's going on and it's really scary. However, you also know that you want to step away from this five of coins energy of poverty, of being left out in the cold. So if you are not quite sure which way to go, what direction your life is going to go in, what's going to happen, all you know is that you don't want to feel lack ever again. And you're willing to put the work in no matter how long it takes you to achieve the success, go for option A. I'm thinking this could be like, this definitely feels money related. Like, for instance, this is a job offer where you would be starting at maybe not an entry level, but like a mid level job. And you want to work your way all the way to the top, but you may not have tried that before. You may not have tried climbing the corporate ladder before, and that gives you anxiety, but you know you're a hard worker. You're not quite sure how you'll manage, but you also know that you're done staying where you are. You're done staying at your current financial level, and you're willing to do as much work as it takes for you to get out of that situation and become more abundant. So if your situation is something like that, then you want to go for option A. Let's take a look at the advice for if you choose option A. We have Earthed, learning how to be human in the world, but not of it. Okay. And that's clarified by Spider Spirit. Make your dreams real. Yeah, okay. So it feels like whatever this situation is, if you picked option A, it would keep you within the practical, like three-dimensional world. You know how sometimes our world can be a little too cut and dry, a little too pragmatic, and not leave room for fantasy and for magic and whimsy. Your advice for if you go with option A is to, yes, stay grounded in the physical reality in the present moment, but also don't let that take you away from your inner child, from the parts of you that dream, from the parts of you that still want greatness, that still want joy and fulfillment. Because this will keep you wrapped up in that journey of seeking abundance, of seeking fulfillment. But sometimes we can get so caught up in it that we forget to nurture our inner child, to nurture the parts of us that want to look beyond just physical reality. So your advice, if you choose option A, is definitely to consciously make time for more spiritual pursuits or more childlike pursuits, more enjoyment and happiness and things that just bring you joy for the sake of it, not because they are productive. So now let's take a look at option B, because I'm curious about which way this is going to go. So what happens if you pick option B? We have the star, clarified by, yep, the Eight of Swords in reverse. How are you gonna... Sorry, I'm just like looking at the viewfinder and the alignment is strange. And we have the World in reverse, clarified by the Five of Wands. Okay. Option B will require a lot more courage, a lot more confidence. However, this Star card here is definitely giving me more optimism, more joy, more emotional fulfillment, more nourishment. So, with the Star being clarified by the Eight of Swords in reverse, the Eight of Swords upright usually talks about someone who has built a cage around themselves. It's like a self-created protection measure, but then they feel trapped by it. So to have that in reverse, clarifying the Star, which is all about optimism, about looking forward with excitement, with eagerness, these two together tell me that if you go with option B, you'll definitely find yourself feeling a lot more hopeful for the future, and you'll find yourself stepping away from some of that anxiety you've created. What's interesting is we have the 8 here and the 9 of Swords here. You'll find yourself stepping out of your comfort zone, but actually feeling safe as you do it. You'll find yourself stepping away from all the limitations you've created for yourself and looking forward to the next big thing, because the Star illuminates. It comes after the Hermit card, I believe. Wait, no, that's not right. No, that's not right at all. But for whatever reason, I have the Star and the Hermit card linked in my mind. But anyway, the Star is all about joy and hope and looking forward with eagerness, right? So it is the more esoteric energy. It's the more there is so much going on in the world and I'm so curious and I'm so excited to learn about it and see where this journey takes me, like that kind of energy. The World in reverse, clarified by the Five of Wands, though, tells me that this might be something you pick because you're passionate about. Because the world is not going to hand you success on a platter if you pick this. You may have to work hard for it. Well, you'll have to work hard here as well, except here it feels like the hard work is directly proportional to the outcome, but it may be a more pragmatic option, a more practical option. Whereas here, hard work may not be directly proportional to the rewards. Like, you may not be guaranteed success. However, you will enjoy the process of it so much more. It'll give you so much more fulfillment, so much more joy. And it's almost like the work will be its own reward. So it almost won't matter to you whether you find success or not, because success to you will be defined as putting the time in. Why would pile 3 want to pick, why should pile 3 pick option B? We have the Knight of Swords in reverse. Okay. And that's clarified by the Four of Wands. You will want to pick option B. Pile 3, you want to pick option B if you're tired of things being so fast-paced, you're tired of being in the rat race, and you just want something to celebrate for once. You're tired of doing all this work and it being almost thankless, but not in the sense of you're not getting paid for it, but rather in the sense of you're not getting the emotional rewards that you were hoping for after putting all that work in. And it's like, you know how in cop shows, my dad watches a lot of these, you know how in cop shows there is a thing where they've just solved this big crime they've caught the mob boss and they put him in jail, and they don't even have a moment's rest before the next case comes up. If that's the situation you're in, where it's like you don't even have a moment to celebrate your achievement before the next task comes up, and you're just tired of everything being so quick to turn around, and you just want to slow down and enjoy life for what it's worth, then you want to pick option B, because even though it may not be as financially secure, financially abundant, and I put that in air quotes because anything can be financially abundant if you manifest it, if you like make it happen, if you can resonate with the energy of abundance. It doesn't matter what you do. But that to you, if that is not a priority for you, then go for option B. So what's some advice for if you do pick option B? We have Akasha, your guidance is divinely guided. Beautiful. And we have the riddle. Interesting. We will read this one from the book. But this Akasha card is so interesting because this could very well be you considering entering like a spiritual line of work. Like maybe you're about to embark on a spiritual journey or produce some sort of spiritual service, something non-tangible. And it's like you don't know for sure how it's going to turn out. And it feels like the universe is purposefully not telling you how it's going to turn out, because the point isn't to do it for abundance, do it for money, but rather because the doing the work is so rewarding that the money is almost like a byproduct of the process. But this riddle is interesting. This is number 53, if that means anything to you. Let's see, it's 55, 54, 53, the riddle. When the riddle is present, one must stop searching for the right answer. It cannot be found, and ultimately it is not important. Rather, there must be a shift from the literal to the metaphorical, from logic to mythic. That's what I was saying. You are thinking too small and literally about the situation. The riddle card appears when the energy is deep and mysterious, like the elusive wisdom in a Zen koan. I may have said that wrong. Eventually, you'll learn a profound lesson from the riddle. For now, get comfortable with the limitations of your intellect and the reality of not knowing. It may, in fact, be the only reality there is. A great awakening or aha moment when dark manipulation, deceit, trickery. Yes, okay. So option B, going down option B will require you to embrace the fact that you don't know what you don't know. And that's okay, because the whole process that's coming your way is about figuring it out, and also about falling in love with not knowing. That is so beautiful. It's like you won't. And again, that I think leans in again into why there is no clear answer about how this will turn out. Whereas here, we know exactly what's going to happen. Here, we're like, you will enjoy the process, because that's the whole point of it. That's the whole point, because all of these cards are in agreement, and they're all from like different decks as well. So with option B, the advice is definitely to embrace that little space where you don't really know and you're about to find out. Because that in itself is a very rewarding adventure. So now that we have these two options, let's take a look at one inevitable outcome no matter what you choose. That's not to say, again, that your choice doesn't matter, but rather an aspect of the situation that's going to turn out the same way regardless of what you choose. We have the Three of Wands, And we have the Knight of Wands. Ooh, lots of fire energy here. We have a lot of wands here. Interesting. Okay. The Three of Wands and the Knight of Wands. Regardless of what you choose, it's going to push you out of your comfort zone. Here, in a literal way, where you'll probably feel discomfort from working so hard. Here, in a more metaphorical way, where you don't know how things are going to pan out, and that's uncomfortable. However, in either case, you are going to find moments of passion that carry you through the difficult bits. So no matter what that passion is for, no matter what your priority is, you will have enough stamina, enough energy to see this project through, no matter which side of this coin you pick. It will take you to new heights that you never imagined being at. It's just that it will be in different contexts depending on which side you go with. And you will definitely end up finding something you're passionate about, end up doing something you're passionate about. It's important to remember that it's not the choice you make. Either way, you're inevitably going to end up fulfilling your life's purpose. Whichever choice you make is the right choice. Okay? So that's your message for today, Pal 3. Very interesting. I hope it resonated. Let me know in the comments how it resonated, because this is a very interesting energy. It feels like you're at a big crossroads in your life. But yeah, let me know in the comments below. And if this video offered you some support and clarity, then please remember to like and subscribe to my channel. If you'd like a private reading, my email is in the video description. Reach out to me and we'll talk about it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you guys so much for spending some time with me, for letting me read for you, for sharing your energy with me. I truly hope it's helped. And you can stick around to the outro after this for another reading on my channel. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.